All right, fifth grade Sunday school quiz to start today. What's the only miracle Jesus does that is recorded in all four of the Gospels? Is it a healing story? Is it raising someone from the dead? Is it casting out a demon? No. The only miracle of Jesus that is recorded in all four of the Gospels is Jesus feeding 5,000 people. And that obviously tells us this was an incredibly significant moment that all four of the Gospels choose to include it. And in John's Gospel, it's found in the beginning of John chapter 6 in verses 1 through 13, which I encourage you to read today. And this echoes back to the passage I shared yesterday of God providing food for the Israelites in the wilderness and raining bread from heaven, manna upon them, day after day after day. In John chapter 6, there's a large crowd that comes and is following Jesus because they saw the signs that he was doing for the sick. Now, in John's gospel, Passover is mentioned 3 times throughout the course of John's gospel, and here in John chapter 6, we're told it's the time of the Passover, the festival of the Jews was near, so that's a time that remembers the exodus from Egypt, the unleavened bread, and then in the wilderness, God providing for the people. And here they are out in the wilderness, and Jesus says to Philip, "Where are we to buy bread for these people to eat?" He said this to test him. Now remember, yesterday in Exodus 16, God gives the instruction to test if the people would follow God's instructions or not. I don't think it's a coincidence or an accident that Jesus, in a similar way, is testing Philip. And Philip answered, 6 months' wages would not buy enough bread for each of them to get a little. And Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, said, "There's a boy here who has 5 barley loaves and 2 fish, but what are they among so many people?" For those of you who are fans of the program The Chosen, you know that they have used this imagery of 5 loaves and 2 fish, and that sense of we're not called to do the miracle, we are called to put in God's hands what we have and trust God to do what only God can do. And Jesus, we're told then, makes the people sit down in the grass, about 5,000, and he took the loaves, and what sounds very much like communion, he took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed them to those who were seated, also the fish, as much as they wanted. And then the disciples gather up 12 baskets of fragments, the same number as the 12 tribes of Israel, and the same number as the 12 disciples or apostles, signifying that with God there is more than enough. And it's also, if you will, reminding the people of those 12 tribes of Israel, and those 12 apostles are now carrying forward this faith. Jesus, it does an amazing thing, feeding 5,000 people. What could he do if you took whatever it is that you have and placed it in his hands and asked him to bless and to multiply it?